January 9th, 1901, Volume 4. Jesus wants her united with him, like a sun's ray, which receives from it life, heat, and splendor. This morning I felt all oppressed and crushed, so much so that I went in search of relief. My only good made me wait a long time for his coming. Then on coming he told me, "My daughter, did I not take your passions, miseries, and weaknesses upon myself for love of you? Would you not want to take those of others upon yourself for love of me?" Then he added, "What I want is that you be always united with me, like a sun's ray, which remains always fixed in the center of the sun, and which receives from it life, heat, and splendor. Suppose that a ray could depart from the center of the sun, what would become of it? Immediately after leaving, it would lose life, light, and heat, and would return to darkness, reducing itself to nothing. Such is the soul. As long as she remains united with me, in my center, it can be said that she is like a sun's ray which lives, receives life from the sun, and goes wherever the sun wants. In sum, it remains at the complete disposal and at the will of the sun. If then she distracts herself and disunites from me, there she is, all darkness, cold, and without feeling within herself that supernal spur of divine life." Having said this, he disappeared. January 9th, 1903, Volume 4. Everything is written in the hearts of those who believe, hope, and love. This morning I was feeling all oppressed, and since Monsignor had come to visit me, saying that he was not sure that it was Jesus Christ who operated in me, when blessed Jesus came, he told me, "My daughter, in order to comprehend a subject well, it takes belief, because without belief everything is dark in the human intellect. On the other hand, the mere believing turns on a light in the mind, and by means of this light one can recognize with clarity truth and falsehood, when it is grace that operates, when it is nature, and when the devil. See, the gospel is known to all, but who comprehends the meaning of my words and the truths contained in it? Who keeps them in his heart and makes of them a treasure with which to purchase the eternal kingdom? One who believes. As for all others, not only do they not understand a thing, but they use my words to mock them and to make fun of the holiest things. So it can be said that everything is written in the hearts of those who believe, hope, and love, while nothing is written for everyone else. The same with you. One who has a little bit of belief sees things with clarity and finds the truth. One who does not sees things as all confused. January 9th, 1920, Volume 12. Each created thing holds out the love of God to man. I was praying, and with my thought I was fusing myself in the eternal volition, and bringing myself before the Supreme Majesty, I said, "Eternal Majesty, I come to your feet in the name of the whole human family, from the first to the last man of the future generations, to adore you profoundly. At your most holy feet, I want to seal the adorations of all. I come to recognize you in the name of all, as creator and absolute ruler of all. I come to love you for all and for each one. I come to return love to you for all, because of each created thing in which you placed so much love that the creature will never find enough love to repay you in love. But in your will I find this love, and wanting that my love as well as the other acts be complete, full, and for all, I have come into your will, where everything is immense and eternal, and where I can find love to be able to love you for all. So I love you for each star you have created. I love you for all the drops of light and for all the intensity of heat which you have placed in the sun. But who can tell all that my poor mind was saying? I would be too long, therefore I stop here. Now, while I was doing this, a thought told me, how is it, and in what way did our Lord place rivers of love for the creature in each created thing? And a light answered my thought. Indeed, my daughter, my love poured out in torrents toward the creature in each created thing. I told you elsewhere, and I confirm to you now that, as my uncreated love created the sun, it placed oceans of love in it. In each drop of light, which was to inundate the eye, the step, the hand, and everything of the creature, my love ran toward her, and almost pounding sweetly on her eye, hand, step, and mouth, it gives her my eternal kiss, and it holds out my love to her. Together with light runs the heat, and pounding on her again a little more strongly, almost impatient for the love of the creature, to the extent of pelting her, I repeat to her more intensely my eternal I love you. And if the sun fecundates the plants with its light and heat, it is my love that runs to nourish man. And if I extended the heavens above man's head, studding it with stars, it is my love that, wanting to delight the eyes of man, also at night, repeats to him my I love you in every sparkling of star. So each created thing holds out my love to man, and if it were not so, creation would have no purpose. And I do nothing without purpose. Everything has been made for man, but man does not recognize it, and he has turned into sorrow for me. Therefore, my daughter, if you want to soothe my sorrow, come often into my will, and give me, in the name of all, adoration, love, gratitude, and thanksgiving for everything. January 9th, 1927, Volume 20, How one who does the will of God possesses the balance of it, and possesses an active light for everything. How a note of sorrow was placed, and this is why the divine will and the human will scowl at each other. How the first fruits are the things which are liked the most. I was going around everywhere according to my usual way, to follow the divine will in all creation, and my sweet Jesus, moving in my interior, told me, "My daughter, how surprising is the work of the soul in my will. Just as the Fiat maintains the balance in the whole creation, by echoing my balance, she forms the balance in all creatures, and extends in them the kingdom of my will. She is like light, which descends from on high, and fixing herself in everyone, she extends in everyone the kingdom of the love, of the adoration, of the glory of my will, and of everything it possesses. But while descending as light to let nothing escape her, she ascends as light and brings the balance of all the acts of the creation, of all times, and of all hearts, to her Creator. With the balance of all the human acts in which the soul has let the act of the divine will enter, on her part she empties all the human acts, and lets the divine will flow as prime act. And the divine will extends its kingdom in them, because there is a soul who has taken this to heart. There is no human act in which she does not want to fix her light, so that what is human may be floored, and the divine will alone may reappear in all things. This is why, my daughter, I almost make you touch everything with your own hand. I want you to extend yourself to everyone and to everything, in order to extend the kingdom of my will. This is what I want, that my will flow in everything, which as light, while investing everything, remains above all, and everything becomes my will. However, it may happen that someone escapes from this light, just as someone may escape from the light of the sun. But this says nothing for the sun, because by possessing the balance of light, it contains its act of light for everyone and for everything. So, while giving light to all, the sun maintains the balance of the glory for its creator of all the acts of light. Therefore it remains in the perfect order, while those who escape the light go out of the order. In the same way, the soul, by possessing the unity of the light of the supreme Fiat, possesses all of its acts of light. Therefore she can give her act of light of divine will to the human acts, so that on her part she may extend its divine kingdom everywhere. If creatures escape, this says nothing. The light of my will diffuses anyway, and I see in my chosen one that my kingdom carries out its life, it extends, it is established. Therefore I want to see your acts in my will over each thought of the creatures, in each word, heartbeat, step, and work, in everything. For now, let us think about forming our kingdom. Once it is formed, we will think about those who escape, and those who remain in the net of the light of my will. After this I felt so very exhausted, because I had had a fever for many days, and I had just barely written that little which is written above. So, not feeling the strength to continue to write, I stopped, and I began to pray. And my sweet Jesus, coming out from within my interior, clasped all of me to himself, and compassionated me, telling me, "My daughter is sick. My daughter is sick. You must know that a note of sorrow was placed from the creatures in the kingdom of my will, a note which no one for many centuries has ever thought of healing, a note too sorrowful for the supreme Fiat, and the cause for which the divine will and the human will scowl at each other. Now the firstborn daughter of my will must balance all games before she comes to our fatherland. She must fill all the voids in order to establish my kingdom in the midst of creatures. Now, being sick, my daughter will form the kingdom of divine sorrow within it, which, flowing like a wave of light and of heat, will serve to sweeten this sorrowful note. Do you not know that light and heat have the power to convert the most bitter things into most sweet nectar? It is given to you, my daughter, who live in our will, to let your sorrows, your fever, your intimate pains of my privation, which make you die but do not make you die, flow within our unending boundaries, in order to invest this note so sorrowful of the divine Fiat, and form in this note a most sweet and harmonious sound, in such a way that the two wills will no longer scowl at each other, but will be reconciled." Then he added, "My daughter, you cannot comprehend what I feel for you, the joys, the happiness I feel because I find in you the first fruits of the kingdom of my will. I find the delights of the early fruits, the first fruits of the music which only the creature who lives in it can produce, because she takes all of our notes which are in our will, makes them her own, and forms her beautiful music in our kingdom. And I, oh, how I delight in listening to her. I find the first fruits of the order, the first fruits of true love, which my will has conceded to her. I find the first fruits of beauty, which enraptures me so much that I cannot detach my gaze. So I find all of your acts as first acts, which no one before you has given to me. The first fruits are always the things which are liked the most, which are most attractive, and which are enjoyed the most. And if other similar things come after the first fruits, it is by virtue of the prime act that other similar acts could be formed. So all the glory is of the prime act. Therefore you will always have the first fruits in the kingdom of the divine fiat. There will be nothing done in it which will not come from your prime act. So everyone will be turned to you, the beginning of the glory. Therefore I want everything to begin from you in order to form my supreme kingdom. End of January 9th. Fiat.